Right in the middle of Tarrytown is the largest one-story plan I've ever seen. It's over 3,700 square feet. It's got a massive living room and all the rooms that you want in a home while still being open concept. If you want to be minutes from downtown Austin, you want windows everywhere in your home, bringing in natural light, then stick with me for a great home tour. Now this is 1904 Meadowbrook Drive right here in Austin, Texas. And we're in a neighborhood that is very popular called Tarrytown because so many people tell me they love these private, secluded streets that have all these mature trees, but you're still minutes from downtown Austin and all the fun things that Austin offers. Now, this is a 4-bedroom, 3.5 bathroom home. We're over 3,700 square feet, and it's listed just under $2.9 million. Now, I want to give some credit to the listing agent, Amy Deane at Moreland Properties. And my name is Raj Sahu. I'm a realtor in Austin, Texas, but you shouldn't work with me as a realtor, and I'll talk about that a little bit more later. What I want to show you in full detail is this main living area, which has tall ceilings, and you don't see too many one-story plans that have transom windows above doors, that have windows all across that wall. But I think what was most surprising about this home was the great upgrades that are here in the kitchen. What my clients tell me they love seeing in kitchens is a focal point that really attracts your attention, and then everything else flows together. And I think in this kitchen, what stands out as the focal point is definitely this kitchen island. Take a look at that stark blue color, that contrast, everything else in this kitchen, and then everything else flows like I mentioned. Take a look at the veins running through that kitchen island. It really matches up with the backsplash that has a ton of movement, and that backsplash goes all the way up to the ceiling following this designer vent hood. And you're gonna see different accents throughout this home that mirror what you see here in this kitchen. Every space feels unique, but it definitely has a similar vibe through the home, and I think it was well designed. And I'm saying all this on a home that was built in 1949. And I think you're going to see throughout this video, it definitely doesn't feel like 1949, although it does have some parts that are very charming, and I think you'll see that throughout this home tour. But of course, there's been a lot completed on this home and remodeled. Like, take a look at this apron sink that really stands out, and I love how it looks out to that living room that feels massive. Now, I think what you're going to see throughout this home tour while we show you some built-in appliances is you're going to see a mix of great design and functionality. And some of that functionality is right here with that sliding door that we're about to exit. But also there's a living room on this side, which has those tall ceilings, but there's a second living room slash game room, flex area, whatever you want to call it, on the other side of the kitchen. And these are big spaces, and I think oftentimes people feel like on these one-story plans, everything's closed off, nothing's very functional, and I think you're going to see multiple doors. I think there's about 5 doors that all get to a side patio, a backyard patio. There's so much functionality for you to entertain in this one-story plan, and oftentimes people that are moving to the Austin, Texas metro are moving here because they want to entertain, they want to have fun, they want to move to a lively, active city. And I think this home characterizes that main reason why people move here. But there's many reasons, right? Some of them is people come to the Austin, Texas area and they didn't realize how beautiful it was. And they love all the sunlight coming into windows like that. It's actually the primary bedroom that we'll get to in a second. There's also a lot of mature trees in these areas. And that's why Tarrytown stands out as one of those top options for people looking to move to Austin, Texas. Hey, real quick, earlier in the video I mentioned I'm not the best realtor for you if you're looking at homes around this area. And the simple reason why is I built another channel around the suburbs of Austin, Texas, and I have represented a lot of clients around the suburbs with different builders. But if you're looking around this area like Tarrytown, Allendale, Rosedale, Brentwood, Northwest Hills, these different neighborhoods have a lot of off-market properties, and I've found great agents at different price points, at different neighborhoods that are very good at what they do. So if you want to connect, scan this QR code. What it does is starts a text message with my cell phone. All you got to do is click send. And what I'll ask you is a couple of basic questions, like literally 2 or 3 questions. It'll take you a minute or 2 to answer them. And once I have those answers, I can connect you with a great realtor if you want to access off-market properties and really get serious about the home search process. And so I'll just be very upfront with you, not the best realtor for you for this area. I do a lot of new construction in the suburbs, but I'm getting to know this area fast. So if you're loving this area and these homes around central Austin, then stick with me. Back to the home tour.
Okay, we're gonna get back into the home, and when I keep telling you this is a unique one story, do you see all those windows? That is to the primary bedroom. And so I get a lot of people that tell me, hey, one story plans, they just don't feel open concept, they don't have tall ceilings, and they lack windows because when you have one story, you can't put windows, 12, 18 feet in the air, you can't put transom windows in. And this home crushes that argument. Like, for example, even just in this living room, I think I showed it to you earlier, but there are transom windows up there. We got tall ceilings. It's very open concept in here. But what you really need to see next is the primary bedroom and full bathroom, because this is what they did upgrades on that I think came out really well. And all those windows that I showed you previously, again, this is a rare one-story home, over 3,700 square feet, and I think you can really feel it right here in the primary bedroom. Let me know what you think about this. I saw pictures of this, and that's when I knew, well, I gotta capture this, because for a lot of people who think they need these open concept homes to be 2 stories, they end up looking at the newer homes where they tear down whatever was here, they build up a 2-story home, and it's brand new, and that is definitely shown in the price tag, right? The price of the home is relatively much higher rather than these homes where they take the existing structure and fix them up. And they do things that are still very functional. You get a lot of great privacy in this one story. The primary suite's located on the opposite side of the home compared to the secondary bedrooms, but you still get a lot of accessibility to the outdoor area. I haven't really counted in full, but I think there's 4 or 5 ways to get outside from the back of the home, which is a bit ridiculous. I mean, ridiculous in a great way, because if you're entertaining, you have a lot of people over, you're spending time outdoors, it's so nice to have that space accessible. And this is also nice. Take a look at these built-ins that they have here. I was kind of just staring at this thinking, this is not a drawer set that's just gonna go with the cellar. No, that's attached. That's most definitely attached to the home. You also have the primary bathroom, which is very open. You got windows on top of windows here above the freestanding tub. And let me know what you think about the design that they did here. What my clients always tell me is when they're looking at primary bathrooms, what really draws their attention is design making a space feel larger. And I think that's exactly what this flooring does. Because it's laid in a herringbone pattern, your eyes just go all the way out to the mirrors that are there, and those mirrors make this space feel much larger. And I like when those vanities kind of play off the design that's here, and that's exactly what happens in this primary bathroom. Also, they kept the colors very light. So it's very, it's light and bright in here, even though the sun is probably right on top of the home at the time I'm recording this. So I think normally there'd be a little bit more natural light, but I'm shooting this right at noon. And so, sun's not coming in as much, but you still get a lot of light because of the design upgrades that they chose. It's reflecting a lot of the light that's on here. Okay. We're gonna move on to the rest of the home from the primary bedroom, bathroom. I did want to actually cover the closet. So they do have 2 closets, and you just don't see this on one-story plans. Usually the closet space is the tight part of these one-story plans. You usually do not see this. And I would say this is a fairly large closet space if you even just take it up. Ceiling height's usually not this tall. Usually we just have like 9-foot tall ceilings everywhere, sometimes even smaller, but it's very rare to get 2 closets. And you have 2 closets, you got built-ins. This closet's even bigger, goes all the way down that side. And this is why I love coming out to this area of Tarrytown. You just never know what you're gonna get. And that, I know that's a Forrest Gump quote, but that's exactly how I feel every time I come to Tarrytown and I tour some of these homes that are so unique. And for a lot of those people that tell me, hey, the suburbs is like their worst nightmare. They don't want to be in the burbs where the houses they feel look like very similar to each other. A lot of people use the word cookie cutter, and that's often what I hear when people go to the suburbs. And for those types of people that don't want to get that cookie cutter feel, they feel like that in the suburbs, I often find they grew up in the suburbs and they love where they grew up. They love their childhood for the most part. but they don't want to relive that part of their life. They want to feel like they live in Austin, and that's where a lot of people are looking at areas like this, like Tarrytown, Rosedale, Allendale, Northwest Hills. They want to get that Austin vibe, and they love these unique homes. All right, let me know what you think about this. Lots of built-ins in the utility room. We got a sink. We got plenty of cabinetry. Some of these things may convey with the property. Some of them do not. I'm not going to cover all of them, but I believe I saw in the notes that the dining room chandelier, I believe, is going to go with the cellar, so that's excluded from the property. And then in the state of Texas, washer and dryer and refrigerator, even if it's in here, it doesn't have to convey with the property. It could still go with the cellar unless you specify that you want it. Now, I'm going to get into a little bit more detail on that because I have a client who's actually closing in a few weeks on a resale home, and I'll talk about $30,000 plus of stuff that they're getting in the home, and I'll talk about why in a second. But first, I don't want to breeze over this. I know it's not great to show a commode, but I try to show as many details as possible, including, look at this. Take a look at these sconces. I think this is so cool. It just adds that character that I think so many people are looking for in their home, where if they don't want a new build, they don't want it to be torn down. They want to keep the character in some of these homes. I think this powder bathroom really resonates with those types of people. Let me know what you think about this. I think the flooring's attractive. Your eyes get drawn to all the great tile work that's here in the powder bathroom. Love the two sconces that are here on either side of that circular mirror. And then of all things, trying to show you everything, some beautiful wallpaper here. Just add some color that you don't see elsewhere, but it still flows, right? You still see a lot of the colors. Like, take a look at that bird. That reminds me of the wallpaper that I grew up in our Pennsylvania home. That was a 1950s build, and we kept the wallpaper that was there in the powder bath. I think we also had it in this is going back a little bit. The kitchen area, there was wallpaper, and we just kind of kept it all, and I loved it. I love where I grew up. And I understand what people mean when they love the character of things. I always just thought that was a marketing pitch, and in some elements it is, right? We've gotten a lot of people that just say, this place is older, it has no remodel, and I've been through properties like that, and then somebody will say, oh, that's just character. And it's like, I don't think that's a good use of character. I think this dining room is a good use of saying there's a lot of great character in here. Like, take a look at that wall design here that wraps around, and then I love how this wall it perfectly accents artwork, which is exactly what they have here. Fantastic, and this just feels different with that wainscoting design and all the intricate designs that they did at the front entrance. I don't even think I showed that earlier. I think you briefly saw it, but I just want to get out to the main living area because that's what people tell me they have to have in their home. If they're going to live in Tarrytown, they're going to compromise maybe on their house by getting the location that they want, which is Tarrytown. They still want to feel like they have an open concept home. And that's why I went out to the living room right away. But take a look at this dining room. I mean, this is spacious. You got a lot of great natural light. You have a ton of mature trees in the front yard, giving you privacy. And when I walk outside in the front yard, it does not feel like you're minutes from downtown Austin. It feels like you're in a hidden oasis that's covered with mature trees. It feels like you're around nature, and then you just take one turn and you're right on Mopac, which is the major road that runs just west of downtown Austin, and you're walking distance from a lot of great things like parks, which we saw earlier, great restaurants. Veracruz, Littlefields is close by here in Tarrytown. I pretty much go there every time. In fact, after I shoot this, I'll probably go grab a coffee at Littlefields and then maybe grab a taco. And I'm pretty much there 2 to 3 times a week at this point. And so I love the combination of feeling like you're on a private street, tons of mature trees, but still minutes from all these things that people want to be close by to. Okay, now this is always going to be the unique part of a second one-story or a one-story plan is where do they get the living room? And oftentimes you get these 2 living room combination. So you can change this one into a game room. Like I love the chessboard back there. We're gonna see that study here in a second. But what I think is so cool about this space is you have 2 exits to get to a side yard, which is like a mini patio, as well as another door to get to the backyard. Also, what I would tell you is when you have 2 living rooms, oftentimes on these one-story plans, they are like the size of a spare bedroom. Like they're small, and that's really tough when that's your living room. And I get so many people that tell me, I wish those 2 living rooms on that one-story plan were just combined into one space. I don't think anybody says that on this home. Both of these living rooms have a great deal of space, and I think this fits exactly what people need. They need a game room, and I'll tell you in a second. A lot of people tell me they need a study. I love how they built out this nook area. A lot of people tell me, hey, they're willing to sacrifice on their space for study. They just need to get work done. They need to be in front of a computer. They don't need to be doing jumping jacks and running around in their study, so it doesn't need to be big, but they do need a private area to be in that study to get work done. And I think that study's exactly, fits that exact criteria. Now, I peeked into this room. I don't even know what you would call this, but it's just kind of like a sitting area. Obviously, there's a built-in dry bar on this side, which is fantastic. Love those freestanding shelves and this amazing cork design. We don't even really drink much wine, but that gets me a bit excited to kind of enjoy a beverage every now and then. And then I don't think I opened up this door before I got in here. So I believe this is going to be just storage. Yeah, that is right. And then we do have a lot of functionality here. So I talked about a bunch of doors that get you to your backyard patio, but take a look at this. That's gonna be the front entrance. Obviously that's the dining room in the distance. You got accessibility to the kitchen, and then you have this sitting area next to a dry bar, and then you have a game room, study on this side. So really good common areas that separate the primary suite from the spare bedrooms. And people tell me that's really important. On a one-story plan, they often say, hey, if I don't get that game room, and for one of my clients who has kids, actually a lot of my clients who have kids, they tell me the same thing. Hey, if I can't get a game room, our kids will take over the living room. And when I'm in my living room and I'm just trying to decompress from the day, maybe had a long work day, and I'm tripping over toys in my living room, and I'm trying to cook, and my kids are right there, right outside the kitchen island, it feels a little bit more congested. And that's the feedback that I've gotten from people. Now, that's not always the case. Sometimes you want to be around your kids while you're cooking, especially if they're younger. Like we have a 3 and a 1-year-old, and our 1-year-old son is it's just complete chaos from time to time. And so we want him close by because he's usually like bumping his head or running into the kitchen cabinets. I can never really keep track of what our son is doing. And so we want to keep him close by, but there are times where, hey, one of us just wants to spend time, have the kids have their own space. And that's exactly what I think of when we look at that game room. That's where they can spread their toys around, they can have their own space, and they don't have to take over the living room. And so I've gotten a lot of feedback from people that tell me, hey, that's what's missing on the one-story plan. And obviously, as you see here, that's not missing on this one-story plan. And for a ton of people that want that 2-story plan, they do tell me it's the game room that's upstairs, that loft area, that just gives them that built-in privacy. And of course, can't replicate that on a 1-story plan, but there are times where you can have that separate room like we saw there. Okay, on this one, we're looking at a couple full bathrooms. So one is accessible from the hallway. So the 2 bedrooms that don't have an in-suite full bathroom have access to that bathroom. I think there's a lot of functionality here. We already saw a powder bathroom previously. That's right off of the main living area, which is great. There's still a great deal of windows that are here. Look out to that front yard. I'll keep talking about mature trees and everything going on with this property. You also have some closets that are built in here, and we have another couple more bedrooms that are here. Now, while we're here, a lot of people ask me, well, what are the differences between these areas of Tarrytown and other neighborhoods? And what I found is, west of Mopac. So Mopac is Route 1. If you're not familiar with anything about Austin, if you see that Route 1 that runs north and south, Route 1, or what everybody calls Mopac here, That MOPAC separates pretty much the western side, which has a little bit more topography. Like a lot of the neighborhoods west of MOPAC are called Great Hills, Northwest Hills, Rollingwood, Westlake. I mean, these are the areas that people really desire to be around when they love topography. And obviously that's just not the only factor, that's one factor, but I would say it's a big factor. A lot of people that love the topography end up going west of MOPAC. There are some pockets of topography east of MOPAC, but it starts to get a little bit more flat. And that's why east of MOPAC is where they built downtown. That's where they built University of Texas. That's where they built a lot of the infrastructure that exists in downtown. But west of MOPAC and then west of another highway, which starts to go northwest called 183, that's where all the hills are. And that's why they built a highway along that area. And I didn't want to miss this. This is a good amount of storage. And so a lot of people tell me they love Tarrytown for that reason. Also the waterway, the Colorado River runs along here. And so they love being close by to these things that make them feel like they're around the beauty here in Austin, Texas. And for people that are looking for that important part, that topography, I think there are some homes that really resonate with them. And sometimes even if the home doesn't have topography or a view, but it's open concept like this, they love it because they just want to be around that area. Now there are other differences I can cover in a future video, but I want to hear from you. What did you think of this home that is open concept, has storage, has a 2 living rooms, one that could be a game room, a study, has a powder bathroom, has a lot of things that people tell me are missing on a one-story plan, but you got it right here. And if you enjoyed this and you want to connect, then click on the link at the bottom of the description of this video. You can either find my calendar there or just text or call the number and connect with me, and we'll get you situated on your home search once we know a little bit more about your criteria. If you're watching this on TV, you can also scan this QR code. What it does is it starts to call with my cell phone. All you got to do is click call, and I'd be happy to connect and get you on your way to looking at different options, both on market as well as off market here in the Austin, Texas metro area. Now, if you wanted to see another home tour that is around this area, go ahead and click on this side of your screen. And as always, I hope this helps. Take care, everyone.